Hey everyone, tonight we're going to talk about how to find the surface area of a three-dimensional object. The surface area is the area surrounding the outside of an object. So what you'll want to do is add up the area of each face of an object or of a three-dimensional shape. So we'll start with a cube because that is the simplest form of a three-dimensional object, and we'll get a little bit more complicated from there. So to go find the area of a cube, we're going to add the area of each face of the cube. So the first face of the cube we'll say is the front of it. So we'll find the area of the front, and then we'll add that to the area of the right side, and the left side, and the bottom, and the back, and the top, and add all of those together. So note then that that means that a cube has 6 sides. It has a front and a back, a left and a right, and a top and a bottom. So that's 6 total sides. The cool thing about a cube that makes it really easy to deal with is that all the side lengths are equal. So we know that if the base is 3 inches, then if it's 3 inches wide, then it's also 3 inches long, and it's also 3 inches tall. So all of these side lengths are going to be 3 inches, which means to find the area of each section, I can do 3 times 3 and get 9. So that little face is 9 square inches. This one's going to be 9 square inches. This will also be 9, 9, 9, and 9. So basically what I have then is 9 times 6, and that gives me 54 square inches. Now if you're looking for a general formula to find the surface area of a cube, then we could say that the surface area is equal to the side length squared times 6. Alright, getting slightly more complicated now, we're going to work with a rectangular prism. Remember, a cube is a special type of a rectangular prism that has all equal sides. Rectangular prisms, though, do not have to have all equal sides, and in this example it does not. So we have a width of 2, a length of 3, and a height of 6 inches. We've got a net here that is basically taking this rectangular prism and turning it on its side, but note that it is still part of the same shape. So we can use a lot of these measurements that were given here to figure out the measurements of other sections. So this is 6 by 2. And note that because this top area is 6 inches, then this also has to be 6 inches, as does this, and this, and this. So that means down at the bottom here, I have 6 by 3. And that also must mean that this one has to be 6 by 3 because they're on opposite sides of the object. This must be 6 times 2, and that leaves the top and the bottom over here, which is going to be 2 by 3. And this will also be 2 by 3. Now notice then that we have 2 times each individual section, right? There are 2 sections that are 6 by 2. So we've got 2 times 6 times 2. We have 2 sections. Oh, I can outline that one as well. We have 2 sections that are 6 by 3. And we have 2 sections that are 2 by 3. So I can calculate the surface area by doing all these multiplication problems and then add them together. So 2 times 6 times 2, I know, is going to give me 24. 2 times 6 times 3 is going to give me 36. And 2 times 2 times 3 is going to give me 12. So when I add all of that up, I'm going to get 72. So if you're looking for a formula for area or surface area of a rectangular prism, then you're going to want to remember that each face has 2 copies of it. So surface area would be 2 times length times width plus 2 times width times height plus 2 times length times height. Okay, basically what we've done is we've taken each possibility of combinations of these three numbers and included them in there twice. All right, now we're going to complicate things by throwing decimals at you, but remember it's still the same process, okay? We're still going to find the area of each individual face and then add it all up. So that means that we can start, let's move from left to right to make things a little bit easier for us. So to find the area of this section here, we're going to need to do 4.5 times 8.1. Then to find the area of this section, we're going to need to do 8.1 times 9. For this section, we're going to have to do 7.2 times 8.1. And for the top up here, we're going to have to do 1/2 times the base, which is 9, times the height, which is 4. But also notice that this triangle at the bottom is going to be the same, okay? It's going to be the same as the top one. So that means that I can take all of this and multiply that by 2. All right, so let's go ahead and work out all of our decimal multiplication. And we're going to go through this together because I want to make sure that we're correctly multiplying our decimals. That's something you're really going to need to know for the EOG. So 4.5 and 8.1, when I multiply that out, I'm going to do 1 times 5, which is 5, 1 times 4, which is 4, put a 0 in as my placeholder, 8 times 5 is 40, 8 times 4 is 32, plus 4 is 36. And so to add all that up, I'm going to get 36.45. Now, 8.1 times 9, 1 times 9 is 9, 9 times 8 is 72. So my answer for that section, or my area for that section, is 72.9. Let's try 7.2 times 8.1. We're going to do 2 times 1, which is 2. 7 times 1 is 7. Put a 0 in as a placeholder again. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 7 is 56, plus 1 is 57. And we add all that up. We have 2, this is 13. That becomes 8, and so the total area for this one is 58.32. Note with each of these problems that I'm using the number of decimal places from each factor to figure out how many total decimal places I need. So with the first one I did 1 decimal place and another decimal place gives me 2 decimal places at the end. This one only had 1 decimal place and 0 here, which left me with 1. This is 1 and 1, which gives me 2 total here. Alright, so our last one luckily deals with whole numbers and 1 fraction. But this fraction is really easy to deal with because this was half and this is times 2. So if we're going to multiply by 2 and then divide by 2, we might as well just cancel these out because that's going to give us 1 anyway. So what I'm left with is 9 times 4, which is 36. Now I can go in and add all of these faces up. I have 36.45. I have 53.32. I have 72.9, and remember, I'm going to make sure that my decimal points line up when I'm adding decimals. And I have 36.00. Alright, so when I add all that together, I got 5 plus 2 is 7. 4 plus 3 is 7, plus 9 is 16. 2 sixes is going to give me 12, plus 6 more is going to give me 18. 3 and a 3 is going to give me 6, plus 1 is 7, plus 7 more is 14, plus 5 is 19. And so my decimal place here stays lined up. So my answer is 198.67 square centimeters. Next is a square pyramid. And you'll know the net of a square pyramid if you can recognize that the object is going to have a pointy top, okay? So a pyramid is going to come to a point at the top, just like this one does here. So to find the surface area of a square pyramid, we will first look at the base. We know this is a square pyramid, by the way, because the base of it is a square. So to determine which type of pyramid we're dealing with, we need to first look at what the base is. All right, so with our base being a square, we know the area of that's going to be 4 by 4, so that means it has to be 16. And then we have 7 times 4, because our other side length over here is 4, and that has to get multiplied by a half to find the area of this triangle. That's this one. But with a square pyramid, we're going to have all 4 of these triangles are going to have the exact same area. So instead of doing the same thing over and over, I can just take this whole thing and I can multiply it by 4. All right, so notice that this half of 4 is going to give me 2. So I can get rid of this half and I'm going to change this to a 2. So now I have 2 times 7 and that gets multiplied by 4. So I know that 4 times 14 is 56, which means that my area has to be 56 plus 16 added together. 6 and 6 is going to give me 12. That's going to give me 7. And so my answer for my total area is 72 square inches. All right, and last but not least is a triangular pyramid. Now I do want to say with this particular image that we're looking at, we are going to have to assume that all of these triangles are identical, that they're all the same exact dimensions. So what that would mean is that we've got a base of 4 and a vertical of 5. So we must also then assume the same thing here and here. Basically what we're saying is that this must be an equilateral triangle in this particular image, okay? That may not always be the case, but in general for 6th grade problems you will see that it will be equilateral, meaning all the side lengths are the same. So let's go ahead and calculate our surface area for this one. We've got 1/2 times the base of 4 and a height of 5, okay? And that's to calculate this one. But like we said, we're assuming that all of these are going to be identical, which means that this one must be the same as is this one and this one. So we have 4 of the same thing, and again, we're going to just take that whole thing and multiply it by 4. So that means then we have, first of all, half of 4 again is 2. So we can just change this to a 2. This becomes 2 times 5 times 4. 2 times 5 is 10, and 10 times 4 is 40. So my answer here becomes 40 square inches. All right, so once you're starting to feel a little more comfortable with this, I want you to go on and try the Google form. The Google form has some validation, so when you input an answer, it will let you know if you are right or wrong, and you can keep trying it as many times as you need to until you get it correct. Good luck.